In the previous video, we looked at importing users into the home tech organization and its groups using registration forms. And this allowed learners or members of these organizations to self-register into these groups. In this video, we're going to look at another method of doing this. And this would be if the organization gives you a list of users for you to import into the system or for you to create. And out of the box, if you had no plugins to help with this, the only option would be to manually create users one by one. And that would be an issue if an organization gave you tens, hundreds of users to create. That would take a very long time. So what the Organization Toolkit plugin does is give you a method of creating a spreadsheet to import them in bulk and save a lot of time. To do this, we head over to the Organization Toolkit option in the left-hand menu and go to Import Users. What we'll find is that you can import up to 50 users at a time from something called a CSV file. And a CSV file is essentially a spreadsheet and can be opened in the likes of Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets. And there are 3 steps to importing users into your system. We firstly download an import template, which is a spreadsheet which has the layout that you would need to use to import users. Then you upload it by browsing and finding it on your computer, and then you import it. So let's take a look at the import template. You can click on this and open it in your favorite spreadsheet editor here. And what you'll find is that we have a spreadsheet here with a number of columns. So we'll come on to the other one here shortly, which is one that I've created previously. This one will just show you the structure of the spreadsheet that you need to use. And it has a series of columns with things like first name, last name, username, email, password, group. And group is something that we'll come back to shortly, where we get this number. But we can also import a number of custom fields like telephone, address, should you wish to. These are all optional. The only required fields are these first ones with the first name, last name, username, email, and password. The rest are optional. And the idea here is that each user that you want to import would be a new line on here, and you'd have a new person beneath here with the first name, last name. Username and email can be separate, different, or they can be the same. So you can also use an email address as a username if you want to. You would also set a password for each user and assign the group that they are added to. So where do we get this number, 178? Well, each group within LearnDash has its own unique ID. And it's a numerical ID, and we get this by going to LearnDash LMS and then groups. And we can see a list of the groups that we have set up at the moment. And next to this, kind of a few columns along, we have this ID column. And each group you'll see has a unique numerical ID. And the one that we're interested in is this home tech one, which is 24782. So what we would do is select that, copy it, and then within our spreadsheet, we would put that into the group field here for all of the users that we want to import. And you might want to import users into different groups, in which case you would put whatever group each user should end up in as part of this group column. And we have a spreadsheet that I created previously here, which shows a number of fictitious users here. But what we've got is them all listed here with their email addresses and usernames and first names and last names. We've created a separate password for each. You might want to temporarily give everyone the same password and ask them to change it themselves if you wanted, but that's entirely up to you and your relationship with the organization. We've also got a number of other fields that we can populate here, and my example import here has a few of these populated. And as part of this, the group ID for the Home Tech December 2022 group, the ID for it is added here for every user we're going to import. So what I'm going to do is head back to Organization Toolkit Import Users. I'm going to browse to my computer and find the file that I was just on there with my spreadsheet. And then all I'm going to do is click on Import Users, and that will run. And we'll see that 50 users have been added successfully. If any were not added successfully, they would appear beneath here, and you would see that a reason why they hadn't been imported. One example of this might be if you try to import the same user twice, it would recognize that that person already exists and ignore them and show that as an error. So we can see we've imported 50 users, and in theory, all of these users should be within the Home Tech December 2022 group. So let's take a look at one of these as an example. This person has been created, Audra Morpeth here. So if we go to our LearnDash, our WordPress users, and find them within the list here, we can see that they've been created. I can scroll down and see a few of their fields have been populated, such as their city, state, job title. I can see that they've been given access to the Home Tech December 2022 group, which is exactly what we wanted. And in turn, as they are part of that, they've been given access to all of their courses. So what we've got now is those users imported into the system. And what you might do is go back to the organization and say, here is the list of the users with their usernames and passwords. They can now log in and access their courses. So what we've now got is within our Home Tech organization, a batch of users who've been brought in via a number of different enrollment methods, and they can now get started on their courses.